PREPS.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Big Country Preps Wednesday night podcast, our weekly look at the area athletic scene, what happened last week, and what's going on this week. I'm here with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And tonight, Dan, we got a very special guest. We got Wall girls basketball coach Jerry McSherry.
Yeah, and Coach McSherry is a guy that's been around a long time. He was at Clyde when I first got to the area, 15 years ago. Has since coached at Sweetwater, Brady, Ballinger, now at Wall. So he's been around our coverage area quite a bit. A guy that's got a very well-respected name, not only in the region but the state. A very accomplished coach, and he's doing a great job at Wall. So I'm excited to talk to him about this step in his career. He's been at it a long time, 30 years now as a head coach. I'm excited to talk to him just about this opportunity to take over such a tradition-rich program and kind of what this year's been like for him. But it's going to be a fun conversation with the guy who, like I said, has done a great job at Wall, just kind of continuing that tradition of success over there.
All right. Before we bring on Coach McSherry, we want to thank a couple of our sponsors, beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Breckenridge, 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is For the Love of the Game Broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a vehicle, new or used, give Rob a shout, won't you? He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Call him at 254-559-2266. That's Rob Durham at Bear Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. All right, and with that, while you're watching a Wednesday Night Podcast, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And also after you hit that, hit the little bell so that you'll get notifications whenever we come out with a new podcast. And you can easily keep track of that. So please subscribe, won't you please? It's free on YouTube. All right, and with that, it's just about time to bring on Wall girls basketball coach Jerry McSherry. Dan, this guy's been around. He's had a number of stops, mostly throughout the Big Country area. He's well-versed in Big Country basketball. He knows the tough spots to play, and he's really quietly under the radar done a fantastic job. 600 wins, and there's a lot of people out there that don't know it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, and he's probably not going to be one to tell you about it either, but he is a guy that's been around for a long time. I remember when I first got out to Abilene in 2007, he was at Clyde, and Clyde was in a district with Wiley, with some really good quality teams back then that had some really fun matchups with those Wiley teams, some really good guard groups on both teams that made for some fun ones. And then obviously from there to Sweetwater and later Brady and Ballinger, and he did a great job at Ballinger. They had some really scrappy, overachieving teams there, and now he's at Wall. So this may be kind of the first stop where he's at a place that's kind of that traditional power, at least in our coverage area. And I mean, it took 30 years to get there, but he's doing a great job with them. He's got Wall playing at a very high level. They are unfortunately stuck in a district with what might be a historically good Jim Ned team, so they dropped those two district games. But and that's a great district all around. Some really fun basketball being played. But that Wall team is dangerous. This is a good quality team, and once they get to the playoffs, they're going to be very much one of those Region 1 teams with the chance to make a run. So it's going to be fun talking to Coach McSherry about this team and just kind of what they got going.
I personally am ready to bring him on. You ready?
Yeah, looks like he's ready. Let's go ahead and get him on.
And joining us now, Wall girls basketball coach Jerry McSherry. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Coach, you're well-traveled, a 30-year head coaching career. You end up at Wall this year. What's year one been like for you?
Hey, it's been a great year so far. I mean, I've known a lot of these coaches that work here at Wall for quite some time. I knew some of the kids. I was coaching against them numerous times. I've coached against them. So for the last 4 years, I've been over at Ballinger before this, and so I knew their kids from coaching against them, and it's been a good transition.
And coach, that Wall program is obviously one of the top programs in the state at that level, the 3A level. It's obviously has a huge tradition of success, high expectations every year. I guess just talk about kind of stepping in that situation, maybe some of the pressures you felt stepping in there as the Wall head coach.
Well, it is. It's you're expected to do the very best that you can do. The teams are always very competitive. We've got great kids here. You know, I put so much pressure on myself. I don't really, you know, the outside pressure, that's other people's expectations or whatever. You know, I'm just going to do the very best that I can do, and try to get the most out of our kids that we can get. And you know, it's paying off right now. We've been very successful this year. Have some good seniors that's really helped. We have 6 seniors, and they've really been leading us well. And it's been fun. It's been a fun year.
Coach, you recently topped 600 career wins, and you did it about as quietly as that could be done. I think a lot of people are completely ignorant of how accomplished you are as a head girls basketball coach. How much did the milestone mean to you? I mean, you don't strike me as a guy that really worries about that sort of thing.
No, I really don't. You know, it's fun, you know, when it's all said and done to look back and you know, kind of look at it after the year's over, you know. But I don't want the kids thinking about, you know, my records, or because truthfully, it's the kids. You know, if I hadn't had good kids all along, there's a lot of coaches out there that you know, it really just comes down to doing the best that we can do, and just moving on, and trying to get the most out of the year. And you know, right now that's all we're trying to do is just win another ball game. You know, win that one. Right now we're in a deep freeze, and everything's on hold, and we're probably going to have to play back to back two tough opponents. You know, the Ballinger girls gave us fits here at Wall, and then we've got Kahoma. We played them. We only beat them by 10 at their place. So it's going to be a Thursday, Friday if the weather permits it. So you know, we're just trying to prepare and get ready for the next ball game.
And Coach, you mentioned it. Obviously, you are coming over from Ballinger, a school that's now in y'all's district. I guess kind of a unique experience going from one district opponent to another. What's it been like, you know, having coached those girls, now coaching against them, and kind of what's the experience like as a head coach when that happens?
Hey, that was the hardest. You know, like you said earlier, I've been doing this 31 years as a head coach, and honestly, that was the most, you know, because I want those kids to succeed. I want them to do great, you know, but at the same time, I'm coaching at a new school, and we're going to do our very best to beat them. That was the hardest thing going in, is preparing to coach against a group of kids that I, you know, had worked with and really enjoyed working with. That was a tough ball game, but they played hard, and they did everything they possibly could, and you know, to come away with a win, just like I know they'll do on Thursday. You know, but it's a part of the game, and you know, when it really boils down to it, it is a game, and you just, the relationships and stuff that you build, you know, they don't go away just because you change color of your jersey or the color of your, you know, your shirt that you're wearing. So it's really just about the relationships, and teaching kids to do the best that they can do.
Coach, Wall isn't one of these jobs that just anybody puts in for and expects to get. So you had to, in the back of your mind, know that you carried significant respect among your peers when you put in for this job. Were you
Sure.
confident that you would get it when you put in for it?
You know, I kind of, I was, I feel like I can do as good a job as just about anybody that steps into the situation. I knew the people over here. I knew that they respected me because, you know, we continually gave Wall fits at Ballinger. Whenever I was at Brady, we were in Wall's district. We were able to be a tri champion with Wall and Jim Ned whenever I was at Brady. So, you know, I knew that they knew I could do a good job. Um, but I also knew that there were going to be some really good applicants to apply. So, you know, I just went into it. I knew I had a good job. I knew that, you know, if they decided to go in another direction, that I would do my very best to beat them with the kids that I had at Ballinger. So, but yeah, you know, I thought I had a good shot at getting it. And it turned out well. So.
And Coach, you've coached a lot of good teams. I mean, when I first got here, you're at Clyde, Sweetwater, Brady, Ballinger, you mentioned. But what has it been like, obviously, at Wall when you take over a program with that kind of success, the history of success at that kind of talent level? Just kind of what was your first impression of the talent level you were getting to coach over at Wall?
The kids are just really, they're ingrained. It's ingrained in them, because the banners and everything that are up there, the 2 state championships that have been won. I did my student teaching here. I knew the kids, as far as the mentality that they have. Sometimes, talent rises and drops. But their mentality is they're going to win and they're going to play as hard as they can. And, that's, as a coach, that's all you can ask for. I knew that these kids were going to need me to come in and they were going to have to trust me. I was going to have to build, a trust level with them. And I feel like I've done that, and they've earned my respect and trust. They work, they do exactly what I ask them to do. We have great communication. We talk a good bit about, goals and if we're meeting them, if we're not meeting them, and what do we need to do. They want to be held accountable. And, there are a lot of places it's not like that. But these kids, they want to win and they're willing to do whatever's asked of them to get that done.
Coach, can you talk about the district that you're in? The Wall Lady Hawks would win a lot of different districts, but you're in a league with the likes of Jim Ned, a Merkel team, which is very difficult. And in this league, just getting one of the top 2 spots. I mean, just anything really in the top 3 is an accomplishment. The teams that are in the middle, the Clydes, the Ballingers, the
Right.
Cahomas, these are teams that are playoff, caliber teams in most districts as well. It's a tough
Oh,
league.
without a doubt. Jim Ned kind of set the bar up there, and we had them, or I felt like we had them, at our place. They ended up beating us by 3. Hunter's daughter shot lights out down the stretch, and she was guarded. I mean, it wasn't like we just fell asleep and didn't defend her. Thought we had a very good game plan, and like you said, it's one of those deals where it's going to help us in the playoffs in the long run, because I've been in districts where you kind of sleepwalk through the district and then boom, first, second, third round, you're hit with a haymaker by a team that's really, really good. Well, we have to get up pretty much every night in this district. Ballinger gives us fits. Merkel here, they had us in our own gym. They had us into the fourth quarter. They led us the whole ball game, and then our kids just stepped up and did what they had to do. We came away with a 3-point win. But you need that adversity. You need that for the playoffs. We're getting all the testing we need to be successful in the playoff run. So it's a great district as far as there's 5 teams, 6 teams that truthfully, like you said before, could go win another district, some other districts. And we're just battling it out for those top 4 spots, so it's Brady is kind of in that I hate to say, they lucked out a little bit. She's a good friend of mine. She coached with me at Menard, the head coach over there. They dropped down and they went to that district over there. Well, they're second place in that district over there. And, she knows that's a good spot to be, because if you were in this district, you'd be battling it out for third or fourth, so it is exactly what you just said. I mean, it's a tough district.
Yeah, and along those lines, we were kind of looking at the schedule, looking at that final game, the Merkel matchup after what the first one. But like you said, you can't really look that far ahead because you've got Ballinger and Kahoma before that. But potentially that does set up one that could be very important for seeding. Just kind of talk about kind of the final stretch here, some very important games for you guys.
Yeah, it's I told my coaches, we kind of we start out with Jim Ned. that was the start of our district, and that you get so emotionally high for that game. And then, we have two of our teams in the district that have struggled as of late, but we have them back to back. And then we go back into kind of the grind part of district, where you've got to really get up mentally and be ready to go every ball game. We had Clyde at home on Tuesday, and they gave, they fight hard, and they've got a big girl inside that you really have to be aware of and do a good job of blocking out. And then we go to Ballinger, and that's going to be a tough ball game over there for a couple of different reasons. Our kids know each other, the families know each other, and then you add in the drama of me moving over here. It's kind of that's going to be an emotional deal. We're going to have to meet that. We're going to have to really, really do a good job there. And then we've got Kahoma coming in on Friday, the very next day. And then, so you go through that, and then we'll go to Merkel on Tuesday. They're very athletic. They shoot the ball well. They run the floor great. Again, it's one of those deals, you just got to take one game at a time and prepare for that opponent. And, it's kind of like the playoffs, once you're in there, you got to be ready to go or it's the end. In our district, we've already made the playoffs. We know that. Now it's just for seeding. So we're just, one game at a time, and we're going to try to get better every ball game and learn from our mistakes. And, hopefully be ready to go whenever the playoffs roll around.
Coach, assuming all goes well down the stretch here and you get into postseason play with a good seed, the fun really just begins. And if anybody here is qualified to talk about how tough Region 1 is, it's you. You've been around. Region 1 in girls basketball in Class 3A is about as tough as it gets. I mean, you're going to be throwing in the likes of Peaster and Brock into the mix, and the Panhandle teams.
Well, you got Holiday sitting there too.
Yeah, Holiday too. So whoever survives this thing is going to earn their trip to state.
Hey, no doubt. That's it's kind of a running joke at state tournament every year. We sit around and we pick our teams and stuff like that. Everybody wants a Region 1 team, because they've already been through the gauntlet. They've earned their right to be there. And I'm not saying, you got Fairfield sitting over there, you got Winsboro, you got folks like that man, they would do a great job in any region. But you've got 10, 12, 15 teams in Region 1 that they're beating up on each other, and you've got to be ready to go every night. It's one of the toughest regions in the state, if not the toughest, for 3A. You could go 1A, 2A, all the way up to 6A for that matter, but it is 3A is loaded, and whoever can get out of this region is going to be well ready. They're ready for that state tournament. So, you just got to do the best you can do, and hope your kids stay healthy and we can make a long run. That's our goal. So,
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time, and we will definitely be keeping a close eye on the Wall Lady Hawks down the stretch. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that was Wall girls basketball coach Jerry McSherry, the man who has won the quietest 600 games perhaps in girls basketball history. The guy's done a great job, and more people need to know about it.
Yeah, and done it in a lot of programs that aren't necessarily the easiest to win at. You look at kind of a lot of what those programs have done since he left. And he's a guy that's basically won everywhere he's been, fielded really good, scrappy, competitive teams, and it's fun to see him having success now at Wall. He's a guy that, like we've talked about, has been around a long time in our area, so we've obviously been very familiar with him. A very well-respected name, and it was really fun to get to talk to him tonight about what he's doing at Walls. It's been a cool season for them.
And with that, it's just about time to wrap up the Big Country Preps Wednesday night podcast. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we've got 3 separate subscription packages here at Big Country Preps. We got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a semi-annual 6-month subscription where we knock that price down to $4 a month. And then we got an annual 12-month subscription where we knock that price down to $3 a month. $36 for a full year of Big Country high school athletic coverage.
We'd also like to remind you that if you see a photo you like in any one of our galleries, those are available for purchase. We have photo downloads available for $7, as well as some keepsakes and prints. As you're scrolling through the site, you'll notice pretty quickly that we take a lot of photos from these games we are at. It's something we really enjoy doing and something we are very proud of here at BigCountryPreps.com.
All big country, all high school, all the time. Welcome home.